who's going to talk to us about lessons about angling in primary schools.
Thank you very much. So, teach children about nature and the passion of angling with the VISlessen program. My name is Ceelen. I work at the Dutch Angling Association, where I mainly focus on our social programs. And in this presentation, I will provide you with a very practical description of this program. Children in the Netherlands grow up with increasingly problematic screen times in urbanized areas and spend decreasing amount of time playing outdoors. As a result, these children are slowly losing their connection with nature. Since our own research showed that adults who participate in angling also did and were inspired to during their childhoods, and since we want to reconnect these children with nature, we designed the VISlessen program, which might be translated as FISHlessons. Within this program, volunteers of local angling clubs organize activities with primary schools in their own environment. These local angling clubs execute them by them volunteers, and the activities take place in the name of these local angling clubs, also to promote their social position. Within this program, we mainly focus on two different volunteers, which took a course with our organization, which I'll talk about later on in this presentation. And one of these volunteers also connects and has the contact with the primary schools. These primary schools register them by themselves, or these volunteers go to the local primary schools to ask them to participate. It's also sometimes the case that the children in primary schools hear about this program and they propose it to their teachers. If the connection is made between the primary school and the angling club organizes everything that has to do with the activity, so there's no thing for the primary school to facilitate. This program consists of globally two parts. One morning part that is mainly theoretical, and a second part where they put their theoretical knowledge into practice. Now I will explain those two parts in more detail. The first part is the theoretical part. They learn about fish species, their anatomy, ecology, as well as everything that has to do with the angling and the basic knowledge that comes with angling before one starts. I will now show you some of the topics that are presented in this presentation. In this morning part, this presentation is also provided and designed by our organization, the Royal Dutch Angling Association. They teach about the fish species, about their characteristics by which you can recognize these species, and after they learn that, we provide this map also in their goodie bag they can take home, after which they can practice to recognize these fish. So one fish is shown on the screen, and by answering the questions correctly, they eventually end up with the fish in question. We teach them about what we call the house of the fish during these lessons. How these fishes interact with their environment to hide, to feed, for oxygen production, and to reproduce themselves. As well as they should wet their hands before touching fishes. Otherwise they hurt or damage the mucus layer, and a fish might end eventually end up sick or dead. As you might guess, these graphics are special designed for this presentation within these lessons. We learn them how to probably wait a float during the activities and how to unhook a fish, which they do not only learn about from a screen, they also practice as we provide them with soft plastic fishes, a dehooker, and we put a hook in the fish. It's less harmful to try that for the first time on a plastic fish. And we learned them about the license system in the Netherlands, when you need a license, on what conditions. These are mainly children who are between 9 and 12 years old. They say officially do not need a license if they go angling with adults who do. But eventually they will grow up and need one. So we tell them when they need one and how to purchase one. Well, the second part, they put everything they have learned in the morning into practice. In this part, we involve even more volunteers than during the morning part. In this part, the volunteers guide the children, help them with their first time experience during these activities. First time experience for some of them. There are children who are more experienced and now can finally share their passion with other children in their classroom. But there are a lot of children who have their first catch their first fish during these activities. After this part in the afternoon, which will take about 2.5 hours, they conclude the activity and go home with a filled goodie bag for in which is, for example, a magazine special designed for the younger children, which is 6 times a year an edition, and a lot of stuff. Also a workbook, brought it with me, special designed for these children. Everything they learned during the morning part is also got in this workbook, so they can practice it again by themselves at home, and if there is something to remind them of this activity. Yes, as I already told, we mainly try to include 2 types of volunteers. One is the first level is the fish coach. This is a general course about the support and guiding of the children during practical activities, but also a bit about organizing local activities for children on a local level within their own club. Last year we certified 103 of these volunteers. The second level is the fish teacher. This is mainly focused on this program about teaching these children during the morning part and coordinating this activity specifically on this program. They also have to do a practical practice lesson in which one of our employees will visit and see if they are qualified to execute this program on their own. Last year we certified 30 of these new teachers. As I said, we try to involve only these educated volunteers, as in practice we see, or in reality we see that not all volunteers that are involved, especially in the afternoon part, followed an education and are also people who are involved for just this one afternoon activity. Over the last 10 years we educated about 1,000 of these volunteers in total. We organized last year 414 of these lessons involving about 10,000 children. Well, as you see, these are the number of the past 15 years almost. Until the COVID-19 pandemic, we grew to over 600 activities per year, after which quite a drop. And we grew back to 500 and are now at around 400 activities. That might be because that these volunteers are also participating in other programs, but also maybe a slightly different focus or organization from our organization by itself. What we aim to do with this program is to inspire people, inspire these children about angling, educate them about responsible angling by themselves after these activities, and bind these children for the future. As I told, adults are inspired in their childhood, and that's what we like to achieve with this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Questions?
Brilliant. As a scientist, I'm already like, wow, let's do controlled surveys with pupils that are not involved, but maybe the neighboring class, compared to those that are involved. And with so many participants, we can really do strong science. Have you thought about it? Or done it, perhaps, even?
No, done it not. Tuesday I had a presentation about another social program in which I did my master thesis about. But this program we have no specific research about. But yeah, it would be very interesting.
Along those lines, have you been able to track any of your early students to see if they're still avid anglers, or what your influence has been later on in life?
I think that's a great idea for a very nice research topic in the future.
Thanks, great presentation. I'm just wondering, is this, from a sort of policy perspective, is this tied to a national angling strategy that you might have in the Netherlands? And is this the primary driver, getting more people fishing, or is it about getting more kids connected with nature? I'm just wondering if there's a government direction that's supporting you with this.
No, not directly from the government, no. It's just a policy within our own organization. And indeed, we try to inspire them to reconnect them with nature, inspire them to angle. Yes, very broad.
I love the idea, Rob. How do you persuade the teachers to let the kids out? How do you work out how many? I'm always thinking of the practical things. If we suggested this to our schools, they would come up with 100 reasons why it can't work. Do you work? I mean, was it the school body that promotes it? How do you overcome those barriers? Because we'd love to do this sort of thing here, but we're just not sure how to overcome those barriers.
I think there are always schools that create those barriers, but there are also schools that do not. So I think we mainly get those schools who see opportunities instead of barriers. And the teachers are mainly angling minded, so that helps. Those are involved.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rob. You can escape now.
Thank you.
So if we could thank all of the speakers and Rob again, please.